Hello, Wargamers. Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. Hope that you can hear and see my thumb okay. Today we are doing some hobby building, and I hope that you will come along for the ride. My name is Doug with 2 Plus Stuff. This is sort of an informal thing. I've kind of fallen behind a little bit when it comes to the Conquest Paint Along League that I'm doing. So today is going to be about hammering out some models, getting them built. We're having fewer good priming weather days than I expected, so crushing them out so that when I get some, I can take like huge chunks of the army outside and get it all knocked out. And of course, being me, I decided to make this a infantry heavy army. Because I like self-destruction is my personal, form of brokenness, whatever yours might be. So today we're going to be building a whole bunch of the most cheap, chaffy unit possible in Conquest, maybe right next there to like force-grown drones, and that is the Nord Raiders. These are unarmored. They just run in to engage. They're light troops. They're super fun. And I hope that they're a little bit easier to build than the Valkyries. So I'm going to move to the downward cam, and we're going to be starting to hang out here and build stuff. Let me get this at a good angle for me. And so today, it's a build stream. We can talk about anything we want. Of course, I'm building Conquest, but you are welcome to discuss or ask questions regarding anything under the sun. I wanted to throw a shout out to a game that I have become aware of and become very interested in, and that is Marcher. I think Tabletop Time did a video about it. It is a World War II diesel punk style thing, kind of an alternate history, which I'm a sucker for those kinds of games, provided that they have the right style. This one's a little bit more bright, whereas Trench Crusade I find to be, I'm just kind of done with the grimdark. It's so oppressively grimdark that it's like, I don't know. I'm good. Ugh. But I would love to know what you guys are interested in. For me personally, Marcher sounds interesting because it is a smaller scale game. Like, I think we built list for 750 points, and it ended up being, it was a Walker heavy list, so like 20-ish models. I think 2,000 points is a full game, so that's a good, I think, size. Oh, interesting. It's command sprue. That's cool. They put a different plastic in there. And let's see. Oh, that's right. Some of these older kits, they got reboxed and there's no instructions. Let's see. Parabellum. I'm looking up the instructions here. Apologies for everybody, but please go ahead and ask your questions. Kylo, I feel you about the infantry. Build some Kami for Yoroni. Break up all the Dwegum troops. New models are a lot of fun. I love the mask option. Oh, sweet. Raiders. Here we go. Assembly instructions. Of course, they're in alphabetical order, so mine are at the very, very bottom. But yes, I'm always drawn to infantry heavy armies because when they're painted, they look so good on the table, like beyond good. To see, I don't know, just everyone out in there, like to get the livery, and I mean, even if it's like Tyranids, it doesn't matter. Like the quantity only adds to the quality. But I tried this time to take up a bunch of those points with the Sea Jotnar. And I do have a Mountain Jotnar that, quite frankly, I might drop in if I just have a soul-crushing realization that I can't build any more infantry. I'm like, I gotta take at least 300 points out of the equation. I'm late. What are we building? We're building Raiders for Conquest. These are unfortunately a reboxed one, so I wish I had like the box art to put here. Raiders. Here we go. Just in case anyone's curious to what I'm looking at. This is just the old Raider instructions, so that's what's going to be up on my screen while we are building. Okay. Zoom in for my old man eyes. Sweet. Oh, they seem pretty simple. Okay, I'm looking over the build instructions. I mean, there's not a lot to each one. Let's see. What is everybody else working on today? I am, as I said, building raiders here. Would love to know what everybody else is doing. 22, 23. So what I like to do with these kits is I kind of build everything except for the arms and the head, and then I'll go back and do those because it makes it a little easier for my brain. That way I can pick out like the poses or the body styles that I think really match, unless there's like a specific, like you have to use this particular bodied or whatever to get like the spear to hold right or something silly like that. There's always those. And these are definitely the older kits. Parabellum has advanced 10 years of GW development into about 5 of theirs, and you can tell because of the way that the different model kits come together. Like their older kits are like this, where they're fairly rudimentary. I mean, like, do they have a ton of instructions? No. Do they need a ton? Not really. Just kind of cutting bodies out because there's only one way to match them. But the newer ones, like, have all the nice things numbered, and there's little arrows pointing to each piece to what number, like what thing each number is talking about. Which is why I wanted to bite the bullet and just get all these nerds done at once. Let's see. How you do, my man? Fixing to sell my Nord Horde. No one plays around here. Ah, bummer. I don't really have anyone to play with either. This is I go to Adepticon army. One day I'd love it if people in the Des Moines area started playing, but I just don't have the ability to commit to be that person to lead. I can pop in for like an event here or there or something like that, but it is a commitment to decide to lead a gaming group. If you do it right. Those two. Cool. And then there's one guy who's like a bajillion pieces. Yes, that would be you. Worked out well. I'm gonna just knock out all these torsos right here. Not for all 3 regiments, that would be madness. But I'll stick to I'll do a box at a time. We'll batch build. That way we know everything is taken from the correct sprues. Because I'm looking at the upgrade sprue and it's just arms and a head, so I'm not looking to do anything terribly complicated. Haven't looked at Conquest at all. Just started looking at Sigmar in part from your videos. Oh, well, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, it's just, they're different kinds of fantasy. If you're into, I would say, like, Masters of the Universe style fantasy, Age of Sigmar is for you. It's that larger-than-life, incredibly out-there fantasy stuff, very colorful. If you're more into, like, Dark Souls kind of fantasy, Conquest is probably the model line that you might like. They play very differently. There's nothing, other than you use miniatures, they're very different games, but they're both very fun. was considering asking Parabellum if I had permission to run a First Blood event next year at Adepticon, just because I want to participate in something. Well, I'm not going to be participating if I'm running it, but I mean like participate as in like do something to make the hobby grow, kind of a thing. Not necessarily the event. And that goes to you. And you. We'll be playing my first game of Conquest tomorrow night. Well, hey, I hope you have a wonderful time. And it's everything you were hoping it to be. It's, you know, I will say, put yourself in learning mode and just listen and kind of absorb until like turn 2 or 3, and then you'll understand the rhythm of the game as far as like, you know, activations and that kind of stuff with the command cards. It's a good time. Every once in a while I get a hair in my brain and I'm just like, I could consider doing a fantasy battles, and then I look over and I was like, I just think this is a better rank and flank game. At the end of the day, I'd rather paint these models, and if no one around here plays anything, I'll just play like one-page rules versions of something with somebody. And or just Sovel from Steam. But yeah. Let's see. Hello, Old Worlder here. Recently got to AOS because of Go Trick. Hopefully Felix soon books. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. As I said before, have thought about the Old World a lot, because I mean I do play Horus Heresy, and I feel like in terms of the era of understanding how GW writes rules, they were very similar, right? The old 40k and the old fantasy battles. That's not a crazy notion to put out there. So I'm like, you know, I'm used to that. Like, I'll just pick one army. I do the same thing for Heresy. I just have my Sons of Horus, and I have not looked at anything else. I have been a very good boy. But like, you know, I could do that with it, and then the more and more I'm just like, I'm just not gonna get a chance to play. I don't know. Let's see. Good morning from Philadelphia. Hey, hey. Brand new to Rank and Flank. Friend found Conquest easy to approach. Oh, yes. I think that's definitely one of its strengths, for sure. Give me one sec here. I'm just matching up some torsos here off cam. What's the average Joe painting? What's the biggest model you ever had the courage to kit bash? You know, it doesn't count as a kit bash, but I'm going to put it up there anyway because it was the first time I ever was willing to endanger a large model. I first practiced magnetizing on the Glotkin, who is So this is the first model I ever magnetized, and it was the first large model I ever built and painted. If you've ever built this, you know that he is hollow like an M&M that somebody stole the peanut out of. And so I had all kinds of trouble getting the feet to line up in a way that made the magnets work, and then drilling into the little brothers and stuff like that. That was the biggest one in terms of, like, I was the most careful because I was terrified of messing this up, because I got this model for 30 bucks unbuilt because the guy took his butt flap to use in a kit bash. I was like, for $20? Yeah, you can have his cheeks showing. I don't care. At least they sculpted him. He saved me the time. But yes, that was my biggest one, because I was like, this is the biggest opportunity to paint a model that I would not normally buy for myself because it's so expensive. Let's see. I never played tabletop. I just consume lore like drugs. Hey, that's awesome. Well, welcome, Etherwolf. Oh, Ethelwolf. There you go. Wargamer Will. You have no idea how often I'm telling people. Oh, well, thank you so much. I try. You know, I talk about lore because I think it's cool, but I try to. Channel is intended to be just hobby positivita in general. Also, just an escape from the real world. Let's be honest. Let's see. I like Blood and Plunder. Me too. I did their grand narrative at Adepticon last year, and I had an absolute blast. It is on my list to do again. And Firelock Games, I've never seen anyone run an event like them. And they absolutely crushed it in every way. So they had this big, I think it was like 3 6x4s kind of stacked up together. There was a group of us, and we're doing some attack on Panama. The Panama? No, it must have been something else. Panama was in the name, though. I know that. Where the Spanish Guadacosta had the city, and then a pirate crew or English crew, because it kind of gets a little vague sometimes in history, came up and ransacked the city. Anyway, the way that they ran the event was very interesting, where they basically just said, has anyone never played Blood and Plunder? And I had read the rules. I had gotten a couple demo games in, but nothing like substantial, like not where I was like really on my own. And I said, not really. I haven't really had a chance to play. And so the way that they organized the event was perfect, because the TO sat at one end and we were the table. Like, he took all the people who raised their hands and said, yeah, I'm very inexperienced. And he put us at that table right in front of him. So he managed our game, and then would just walk down to the more experienced players at the other end who were able to just kind of do their own thing. And then as they were finishing up their games, because naturally, if you know the rules and the dynamics and stuff, you would go faster. They started walking over and being like, hey, you could do this cool thing, like helping, not backseat driving, just trying to basically, hey, don't forget this little guy. He's really good at this, or he has this rule, that kind of thing, which is very helpful. It made doing the calculations when you bust in special rules and stuff like that much easier to have someone who knows what you're looking for. Yeah. Blood and Plunder, fantastic game. I actually, right in front of me, have you tried Port Royal? It's a similar game engine, but it has actions and reactions in it. And I did a narrative battle report for it here on the channel. And this is for everybody. You could drop, one of the guys in the comment section said he was going to play with like lizard men and rat people or whatever. And it just works. It's a wonderful set of skirmish rules. As long as everyone's on a 32 or a 25 mil, you're good. And it's basically, think Pirate Mordheim. You're trapped in the city of Port Royal right after the earthquake. And the earthquake, I think it was like 1642. It was something like that. I don't have the date off the top of my head. And so everybody's like scavenging for all the supplies and stuff like that. It's a masterpiece. Plus, it plays on a 2x2, which is my favorite board size for miniature games. That's what I told the guys who are doing Marcher as well. Like, I stopped at their little section at Adepticon because I was like, hey, is that a demo board or is that the full size? He's like, well, we play on like 3 game sizes, but the smaller one is 2x2. There's several missions for it. And I was like, I'm in. Whatever you're doing, I'm in. Let's see. How about the chat? Oh, my chat just jumped around. Hold on one second, friends. some reason, my YouTube was like, hey, we're actually going to log you out here. So hopefully everyone can still see and hear me. Please let me know if you can. Because I realized comments stopped coming in and I was like, that seems a little quiet even for me. I'm not a big YouTuber, but dang. Yes, Port Royal is great because you can either flood the board with little guys who have no skill, like just chumps with a gun, or you can go for a lean, experienced crew where everybody gets a chance to do like a really cool reaction to something that's going on around them. And it's killer. It's just the big mix of them is killer. Yep, you're good. Okay, thank you. I want to play Blood and Plunder with AOS. I love pirates, but I don't care for the historical part. You know, and one thing I can definitely tell you that made me like I was a Kickstarter backer for that game. And then full disclosure, later on I was sent a press copy, but like I paid for it myself. But I did that specifically because even though it's a historical setting, said historical setting is really just a MacGuffin to have individual warbands stuck in a place all wanting the same thing. Like, it's not about Port Royal, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can drop in any other miniatures you want, and you can just play the exact same game, rules as written, with... I'm trying to think what would be good equivalents. Well, if you had Dwegholm from Conquest, they could have Black Powder-esque weapons. But I mean, all those things, bows exist, crossbows, black powder guns, swords, axes, that kind of stuff. It's basic models. You can do quite a bit, actually. You know, and then you would just choose a line of models to represent a faction. So instead of La Guardia Costa, it's, I don't know, Space Bros. I'm hacking up Night Arms Quiet for Focus. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate the just letting me know I'm still working. It got weird, and then the second I clicked on my computer, Google was like, I signed you out. Okay, cool. Love that for me. But yes. Skaven and Gloomspite pirates. Yeah. Honestly, I might do a video about that. Just because I do believe that. What if I made a battle report that was... I do have a box of Skaven. I gave away a lot of the Skaventide box, but I still have the actual, like, what do they call it? Spearhead? Just in case I wanted to play with it later. And that has plenty of models to do a basic warband. Trying to think of what else I can do. I mean, hell, I got enough heresy. I guess the Termies are kind of on bigger bases for that. It would just be a matter of accommodating the board. Which, I mean, in the rulebooks it says, like, you can use whatever you want, just accommodate the base sizes. Make sure everybody has a chance to, like, go up gantries and stuff like that. Really excited to get painting Conquest minis. I just got my first wet palette. Oh, cool! An actual light for this, and some nice brushes, as well as some Vince V paints. It's going to be a fun season of hobbying. Well, I want to just pause and say thank you so much for supporting Vince Ventrella and his paints and stuff like that. I love that he got you know, some form of a recognition or partnership deal. I don't know how any of the stuff with Monument Hobbies works, but I just love hearing that small creators are, you know, relative to like Citadel paints are getting supported. So thank you. That made my day. And yes, cannot recommend Monument Hobbies paints enough. They man, the coverage is unlike anything else. If you like the traditional paints, if you're more of the contrast or quick paint type stuff, it's not really the same. Although it would make a great, I still think they make great primers because they're just a solid base coat. So if you airbrush or whatever over something else, Really excited to get paint. Oh, we just read that one. Ninjon palette, Sam lens brushes. Oh, that's funny. Well, hey, you supported a whole bunch of creators. Thank you, thank you. I mean, I don't speak for them and I don't work with them, but I'm sure I can say on their behalf that they appreciate it. I think I have that much authority. Never met Ninjon, but I don't think he would be opposed to that. Calgary, Canada just finished assembling 2 boxes of Old Dominion Legionnaires and some Fireforged. Nice! Very cool. Fireforged were some really cool minis. I did a small Dweghom force back in the day. That's actually what I took to Adepticon the first year I went, like 2 years ago, I think. A super thank you for the long form videos. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You mean the compilation videos I've been doing? I put that off for years because I had just convinced myself nobody wants to watch these. They're just the same thing. And then in the comments of those videos, I have gotten nothing but thank yous. And I guess it's just because my other videos get lost in the sequence of things. So like people will get bits of a series, but when I put it into one video, I don't know. I'm learning more about the user experience because I don't feel like YouTube tells us a lot. Okay. I will say, at least so far, these guys are coming together a lot easier than the Valkyries. Holy smokes. For them, it was the... Well, there was at least 3 parts to everybody. Just almost everybody, I should say. But these guys, they usually just have a front and a back, head and 2 arms, and I can work with that. I've watched them all. I love the long... Oh, thank you so much. That really does mean a lot to me. Like, I don't know unless people tell me. Okay, let's see. So you built a bunch of nerds. Let's see, what can we do? For me, I always start with the command sprue because I want my, your leaders are going to be up front and center, so we want them to look, we want their baller level to be at or near expectation. Looks like for these guys we have... Oh, I see. That's the banner that goes on there. Okay. Took me a second. I thought it was a wooden shield he was holding. The compilation, yep. Put it all together. Also the Dame of Leaves. Toots of Twigs. I thought real hard on that one for a while. I was like, why does this make me laugh so much? Okay, that's part of the banner. I'm assuming this is going to be Boss Man's axe as he hefts it up in a challenge. And then we got Horn Guy. Armed with nothing but team spirit. Okay, let's see. Trying to decide now, are these... If you know the answer to this question, please throw it into the chat, but I believe that these are set up to where every arm works for every torso. It looks like it does. So, that would be cool. Okay, let me get... Who has the squattest pose? Looks like you. Okay, yeah, you're gonna be my standard bearer, because we need a low center of gravity. Put that there. Boss man. How does this look with him running with the axe? Because sometimes that can look real stupid. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I like this one. Go with this. Throw that helmet there, and then horn guy. I like to be running because I just imagine him going as I would be if I was playing the horn standing still. So let's get these guys together. Yeah. As far as other stuff going on in the wide world of gaming, I have been playing a ton of Fallout Wasteland Warfare with the missus and myself. I love that game because it's really great because it really straddles that line between war game and role-playing game. Like, you can play solo, but what I do is I split my warband into two parts. So I take 3 characters and she takes 3 characters, and we play cooperatively. And I just act as the DM, kind of like, okay, now you need to roll this, and this does this thing, and I take care of the AI actions or whatever. So it's not burdensome or rules overwhelming. But it turns into a fun little D&D night, and we're going to play it again whenever, what is it, Prime releases their 2nd season of Fallout. I'm very excited. We really enjoyed the first one quite a bit. You know, knowing that there's going to be differences because the property is changing for a different medium, and they're different storytellers than gamers, so they're going to have a different story. All things considered, I thought it was pretty good. Plus, you got Walter Goggins. It's hard to beat him. First time on the channel, hello from the UK, the Tattooed Zoologist. I love it. Alright, Tattooed Zoologist. What is your favorite animal that you, yourself, have physically touched? You know, pet, worked on, seen. I don't really know what your role is, but I'm always curious. One time we had an entomologist on here, and I was like, which bug Pokemon was the most interesting to you as a child? This will reveal a great deal to us. Trying to think for me, physically touched. Wolf and primates. You know, I would rather touch a wolf than a primate. I'll be honest. I don't like them. It's just, they're just so strong, and I think the world would probably be a safer place if more people respected their strength. You know, if you ever seen Chimp Crazy on HBO, you'll see a whole bunch of people who just don't respect how strong those little muscle dudes are. But nah, I can't do it. I think my honest answer would have to be jellyfish, because I got stung the hell out of me so much, and I hated them as a kid. It touched me. And now as an adult, I'm like, those things are beautiful. And once our waters are totally irradiated and jellyfish take over, they will have earned it. So is this the side with the nubbins? Where do these... Where do these nubbins go? Aha, there it is. Understood, okay. I wasn't seeing the shape before, but now we're on board. Enjoy the lore streams you do while I'm painting? Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I'm always so curious in people who don't play, you know, a lot of games, or, I mean, do you play Conquest or Age of Sigmar or anything like that, or you just enjoy learning about stories and, I guess, fictional realms? I was not anticipating when I started doing YouTube stuff how many people just are out there like, tell me about a cool fantasy universe. Like, they have no attachment to it. I've always found the stories to be a cool way to keep me engaged with the gaming side of things when I'm not playing. But I guess, you know, I guess I do go dip into other systems now that I think about it. Because, like, not really game systems, but, like, I'll listen to, like, the lore of Halo or something like that as I'm going to sleep. I think last night I fell asleep to the entire Cthulhu mythos or something like that. You know, you find your favorite Australian and you let them read you to sleep. That's just what being in your 30s is. Okay, we are, man, I'm actually... Age of Sigmar, I play and collect spearhead armies. I have 9 so far. Well, congrats. I'm going to finish the boss miniatures here before I go too much further with the other ones. Cut out the rest. He needs a dagger arm and most likely a head. Boss man has a head, he just needs a left arm. Oh yeah, we're gonna have him dual wielding axes. I think that sounds pretty cool. That's how I play on Skyrim, and then I start off a encounter with frost magic, then I move into actually, I'm going to give him this cool helmeted head. I like this. And we'll throw a shoulder guard onto the banner bearer, but the other two each have a shoulder that's covered, so I'm not gonna overdo it. Banderwalkie, content creators have helped me get through some of the most challenging times in my life. Happy to support. You're next on my list. Oh, well, thank you so much. That does mean the world to me. It does matter. Parabellum was great to work with, so they are very supportive of me and the stuff I try to do. Even if it's not live in person. I have a feeling these guys also paint up extremely fast because they're mostly skin and fur, so. Are you sick of Raiders? This is still my first box, and you know, at this point, I'm still optimistic. I'm not panging for death yet like I did on my 60th Plague Monk for AOS, but you know, we'll see. I got 2 more boxes to go. Man, this arm is so long he can't even stand. Is it supposed to be up? Yeah, I guess so. I'll take it. It's not my favorite. But when the arm is pointed downwards, it's just way too long to be able to stand on any of these torsos. Wait until Bearsarks? Oh no, what's wrong with Bearsarks? I have 2 regiments of them. Don't pre-break my spirit. No, I'm good. I do well with mass infantry, and I just did 2 regiments of Valkyries, and those were a little life-sucking. What's your favorite faction to play versus favorite faction lore-wise in either AOS or Conquest? Asking Doug and the chat. I really like Old Dominion in Conquest, and I'm eyeing Night Hunt as well in AOS. So for me, we'll go game by game. So favorite faction in AOS, lore-wise, is the Flesh Eater Courts. However, I sold off my army because it seems like since Ushiran came out that the entire faction is designed around him, and that just isn't... I don't like named characters. That's just my own thing. So, lore-wise, it's them, because I like the problems that they face and the way that they interact with other armies in the story. As far as playing, probably Slaves to Darkness, because good or bad, all their iterations, they have been a mix of just as straightforward as Stormcast, so they're approachable, but with, I think, a little bit more fun because they have cool monsters and stuff, which is kind of how I always felt about Chaos Space Marines in 40k as well. Just like, it's just Space Marines plus weird stuff. Why wouldn't you want the weird stuff? That's like all the flavor. There he goes. Okay. Took a second to get his feet to squat right. So yeah, that's probably my favorite to play. Slaves to Darkness in lore, Flesh Eater Courts. For Conquest, my favorite to play, I'm hoping it'll be Nords. Lore-wise, it's definitely the Spire, because I think they're a very unique take on a fantasy / sci-fi faction. I tend to like armies that are more straightforward, run forward and charge kind of a thing, which is why we're here. But Spires were really cool, but they have so many tricks. You just have to know. You have to know how to use the biomancy stuff well, how to make good use of it, because otherwise it's just... they can hit like a pillow if they don't have their buffs going quite right. Okay, we'll take a pause. We got our command squad good to go. Let's go ahead and just get all these nerds together. Bearsarks have specific arms and head body to screw. They also have noticeable seams. Oh, bummer. Okay, those might be an off-camera one, just so I can take my time to really like look around the sprue. As these guys are like... they're pretty intuitive, I would say. Soulblight Gravelords and Flesh Eater Courts. On 40k Battlefront, Sister Nuns with Guns. That's your favorite? I love it. Is Sisters a horde army? Would you describe it as such? Because I want to like 40k. I do, because so many more people play that around here than anything else. It just, I don't know. There's something about it that just seems very, not off-putting. Like, it's not like I dislike any of the gamers or anything like that. It's more just something about the game feels very unapproachable, and I don't know how to articulate that. Maggotkin, I enjoy playing them. Oh yeah, good call. It's not supposed to be, but they keep trying to balance them by making infantry cheaper this edition. Understood. I've considered just getting a Tyranid army that way, because I don't play consistently, so like I can just show up and always be the bad guy and everything. That makes a lot of sense. Sigmar is just as late. 40k is rough, man. I think stratagems just ruin it for casual play. After 5 years in AOS and now 2 into 40k, it's the players. I play AOS more and very rarely play 40k, but just love the lore and the models. Oh, absolutely. There does seem to be an inherent competitiveness, you know, in the discussion anyway. There is a local gentleman who he's very nice. He plays casual games and stuff like that, but he also took some of those classes to like up your competitive edge, so to speak. And it's just interesting to hear people look at the game in just different directions and I guess motivations for competitive play. It's interesting. For me personally, when I think about like why I wanted to play Warhammer, it never has anything to do with a competitive thing. It always has to do with those really silly old White Dwarf battle reports where it was just like the cartoon outlines and then some really cool pictures to kind of go alongside of it. Like that's what I want. Are these armies balanced? No. Is this force going to win because it's the White Dwarf where they get released? Yes. Are they going to show why maybe they're kind of cool? Yeah. Yeah, why not? I still have a big old stack of those old White Dwarfs for that exact reason. Agreed on AOS with everyone. Also, Heresy seems much more laid back, despite being more complex. I found 30k want to be good cinematic battle. So Heretic support, I don't play 40k, but I do play Age of Sigmar and Horus Heresy. In fact, I participated in the Horus Heresy like grand narrative thing at Adepticon this year. And I can tell you from experience, they are exceptionally laid back. I thought that I was signing up for like a 3-round event, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be a long day. And I kind of had a rough day on Friday. I was like, I don't know if I'm up for this. I might have to cancel. And then I got there, and they were just the nicest opponents. I said, I'm fairly new. Can you just walk with me through, calculating stuff like morale or, that kind of thing? And everyone was super nice. I mean, one game I just didn't play right because I didn't think about the deployments. But I felt like I had a chance. And the other one was I got dumpstered real hard by Custodes because I had never played Custodes before, but I saw someone who seemed very inviting just waiting patiently for an opponent, and I was like, hey, want a game? And they were like, yeah, and then I learned very quickly why nobody else had walked up to that particular table. But it was fun to learn, and they were very nice, so I can tell you the Heresy stuff is way more chill. And honestly, it ended up being a 2-round event because everybody throws in a game or two here or there, and collectively the narrative is told over the course of the weekend, which I like as a format. Because instead of 3 games where you're like huffing and puffing going to the next one, it was just 2 games, and I had plenty of time to finish both. Go out, make phone calls, get some food. Okay, we got a whole bunch of arms here. $40K unapproachability is due to the GW push of one faction, Space Marines, and ignoring all else. Didn't they just have a really big Eldar release, though? I mean, I'm not defending them, I don't know. I only know the preview stuff that is like sent to my email that they send to content creators. I don't get 40K stuff, but I'm kept in the loop. I was just like... But yeah, I can see your point. Yes, the Space Marines obviously get more than anything else. There's not even a contest. I just don't care enough about Space Marines for 30K, and know my local scene is bored with 10th, so it's all Sigmar and Heresy. So my thing with the complaint that Heresy is just Space Marines fighting Space Marines. I mean, at the end of the day, all models are just whatever we choose to put representations down. But the reason I like it is... I love the gameplay. It's one of those things that because it's much more of a battle simulation than an abstraction, I can tell you, like, oh yes, in the early part of our engagement, this tank blew up from this shot and it was brought down by these 2 guns doing this much damage. Like, it almost is like a news ticker of information of what's going on in the battle, like you were listening to a baseball game on the radio. Whereas I feel like things are a bit more abstract for sure when it comes to 40K. And I don't really know how to fix that. Because when I finish a game of Heresy, win or lose, I feel like I've told a story. Like, there's a tale to be told about what happened in this battlefield. And I haven't gotten that recently from AOS. But I don't remember ever getting it from 40K. Other than the stories of, like, laughing with my friends, right? Those things are important too. But I just meant, like, in terms of using wargaming as a medium for storytelling. That sounds like a good time. I never got the appeal of competitive tournament play where you can rush and it's all mechanics and no fluff. Aren't video games better suited for that? I mean, possibly, but I mean, for the same reason that people like chess, where it's just... There's something about when a game exists and there's a set field of pieces, in our case, units. As long as there's 2 people in the room who can do the same thing, somebody wants to know who's better at something. I don't know why. I don't have that bone in my body. I tend to not care. I can see like talent and skill and discipline and that kind of stuff, and I appreciate it. And I try to verbalize that, but like I am not someone. I don't know. There's Mechanicus 2. Thoughts on those? I have yet to play any against Mechanicus, but I would love to. It also helps for my interest in 30K that like one of the shows I host here on the channel is The Emperor Protects, where me and my buddy Dan read Horus Heresy books so people don't have to. Because some of them are really great. Some of them are as a fart in the wind and just kind of flee past your brain. We just, we're wrapping up Fulgrim right now, which is topical because the Emperor's Children thing that was not planned at all. But, it was an interesting one, I'll be honest. It's not one that I would necessarily be like, you gotta read this, but it's an interesting book. It's his Primarch book, not the actual book Fulgrim, but the short story that came out, like his backstory type thing. I think they call it the Phoenician. But yeah, all in all, I think it Heresy being it is a really good time with a really good community. Plus, there's just a ton of resources for free. Like I found a whole bunch of great rules condension PDFs, and Battlescribe does a great job of just kind of making it easier by bringing in all the different options and stuff like that, so you can see them a little bit closer. I guess it's fine. My knights technically could play in 30k. It's just every single player around me is some flavor of Marine, and they're all super into the lore. Talking out lore matchups, etc. Well, the good news is that knights can kind of fit into anything, so you sort of have a built-in MacGuffin for fitting anywhere. Because every legion both wants knights and wants to kill their opponents. So on that front, bravo. You already did great. Way to play for the lore. But that's interesting. I don't know if I've met a group that like really focuses that much on specific matchups. I mean, other than having like, you know, trying to always have a traitor versus a loyalist, which it does make sense to me, but like, that's the extent of my caring. I don't care if I'm fighting salamanders or I'm fighting Iron Hands or whatever. Like, no. And to be honest, I don't even care when the Chaos Forces fight amongst each other. It's more when loyalists fight that it's like, all right, we need to come up with a reason. What are we doing? Everybody else, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Fulgrim would punch Lorgar and so forth. Once everyone starts acting like a turd. Sounds to me like killing Marines might be a motivation to play 30k. There you go. You just have your backstory be, you know, like Bender from Futurama. Came to Earth with a dream of killing all humans. I tell ya, I'm not digging the shade or unspoken insults that go along with enjoying Space Marines. Oh, calling them Chads and stuff like that. You know, I'm not in public discourse enough to be affected by people calling me a Chad or something like that. But I have never enjoyed another thing with like jokes about Dark Angels being traitors and everything, whatever. It's the same to me as like Alpha Legion being behind everything. We're just like, wow, that joke gets real old. I didn't know how old that joke could get. It's not. It's boring when every single thing is just Alpha Legion. Lorgar is heavily underrated. Urizen just wants to hug everyone. I think I agree. Lorgar is in terms of like their personal stories, Lorgar is my favorite. I've said that on the podcast a few times. Because all the Primarchs force us to ask questions. And I like the questions that he asks, questions about faith and worship. And to me, like the best fantasy is the ones that can tackle real discussions, but of course layered through a fantastical lens. And I just think he does that well. Just the whole idea of the worship of him and all of that, it just... his perception that there's just a part of humanity or whatever they're all a part of that just wants something to worship. Didn't go out of my way to like Marines. It just happened. Don't get me started on Stormcast. I have like 18,000 points. Oh my gosh. The cinematics of two captains fighting and kept hearing when I checked out their league the other day. That's funny. After many years, I rebooted Fallout 4 on my Xbox. That has been a fun little blast from the past. Trying to think of what else I've been doing. I'd love to see some knights on the table. Oh yeah. I played against one, like it was a Salamander's list that had a knight in it, but never like a knight's list. I'm pretty sure my army would, well, I don't know. It might bounce right off. If you throw enough bodies and grenades at a knight, can you take it down? Asking for a friend. Because I run a very infantry heavy list in my Sons of Horus army. And their whole deal is just rushing up the board. And they do a pretty good job at that. I have to get better at deciding where to put my rhinos and frontline troops so they don't get backed up. But that's about the biggest hang up I had. My partner loves Fallout 4, over 1,000 hours. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it occurred to me, I played the main story, but I don't feel like I explored the world. And I listened to a channel, Oxhorn. He does like Fallout lore and gameplay stuff. And I was just like, I don't remember some of this. So there just had to be a lot of things. And sure enough, there's a bunch of content that I just somehow sailed right past. So my wife is our 40k role-playing game DM and has a master's in philosophy, so her playing Lorgar NPC made us fall to chaos in the most thought-provoking way. Well, that is awesome. She must be a killer DM. You know, are you guys gonna do the what's it called? They're doing a Horus Heresy specific one too. I don't know if you guys are that into it, but I don't play the 40k one, but I would be willing to do the Heresy one. because it's functionally a Civil War story. I mean, you know, you can add the crazy esoteric stuff to it all you want, but you know, there's a lot of drama to be had in there. You can add global stakes to everything, right? Because there's enough planets in the Imperium to go around, so let's see. Knights have a high toughness, but mid saves, low wounds. I see that. There's a slight silver lining to enjoyable poster child army. Stormcast and Marines are the cheapest, most available army to pick up. Agreed. I always have a Stormcast army for the same reason. Because you sneeze and all of a sudden there's, you know, 6 Liberators in front of you. Jake, tell me about your Sons of Horus. I'm trying to convert my Khorne Berserkers in 16th Legion. I actually did a few of that. So I did a video here recently with a more detailed thing about the actual list itself, but my collection is built around one thematic list. So I don't have like a massive, you know, unending horde or whatever. But essentially the way it works is I have 2 big infantry blobs. One's normal Marines, and the other are... Oh, man. Now the name's escaping me. Basic Marines with nothing but a chainsword. Despoilers. And each of those blobs has a leader and an apothecary in it. And their whole job is simply to run forward and die. But die in a way, you know, die well. Die in a way that takes up a whole bunch of stuff. The Sons of Horus in Heresy special rule is that if a enemy unit is already engaged to one of my guys and I charge in with a new unit, that new unit gets 2 extra attacks in melee. That first combat. So it's like it's called Rage. And what it essentially does for me is it amplifies killing power if I can pin an enemy down. So the blob goes in and tries to tie up as many things as it can, eats all the Overwatch, does all of that for the sole purpose of then just being in contact for when the second wave comes up. The second wave is made out of Reavers, which are the Sons of Horus unique infantry, and those are actually the ones I used the old Khorne Berserkers, because they're just Marines with chain axes. And I couldn't find a bit supplier in time. But yeah, so that's all it really was. It's just infantry blobs run up, pin things down, 10 Reavers with a power fist, and a Rhino comes up behind, gets out, charges it. There's 2 Contemptors and 2 of the, I can't remember what they're called, Sky Hunters, the floating bikes that are just loaded to the gills with multi-meltas. And so round 1, they identify what's going to be scary this game, and they run in and try to kill it, and hopefully they do. If they don't, well, we'll see how this pans out. How do you like grenades? And then the last part of the list, so they have those 2 blobs with their reinforcements kind of spreading, and then in the sky I have a unit of 10 Justaerin Terminators, who are the Sons of Horus specific Terminators, and are incredible. Like, they're just incredible in combat. Whatever they go into, they're kitted out to be half Lightning Claws and half Power Fists, so they can deal with Marines, they can deal with vehicles, and I don't have to choose which is which until I put them on the table. Jump pack or on foot with the Reavers. Just in a Rhino, but they get out and go on foot, of course. And so the way that I kind of map it in my brain is the blobs go up, other units go with them, And it's just a Sons of Horus rule, so even if the Dreadnought charges in, or is in combat, whatever's charging will get that Rage special rule. You have to be pinned into a Sons of Horus unit. And so yeah, the Contemptors and the kind of stuff, the bikes can go in, and then the Justerans come down, and that's like that's the headbutt, right? Left hook, right hook, headbutt. I was once told some great advice for Heresy, which is, so Heresy games, things are a bit more expensive points-wise. So instead of a 2,000 point game of 40k or AOS is a 3,000 point game of Heresy. They're the same, it's just different point scales. So 3,000 point lists, 2,000 should be about doing work, which is, that's going to be stuff like infantry blobs, the Reavers, because they can all score. Those are all line troops. But then 1,000 points should be stupid stuff that just sounds cool. And for me, I like the Justerans. So that's what that was. Hey, Sean. How's it going? Grinding away at some raiders for conquest. What do you got on your Contemptor? And what are you doing for HQs? So I have 2 Contemptors in the list. One has an auto cannon, and one has a las cannon. And not really a big reason for that. It's more just cost effectiveness. Eventually they're going to get into combat, so the auto cannon one maybe I'll be a little bit more aggressive with, because I don't really care about losing that versus the las cannon. For leaders, I have a Praetor in Cataphracti armor. He's up with the Justerans. I should mention that he can't natively teleport down with him. The list I made was for an event where there was an upgrade where he could go with them. There's other ways to get it, but yeah, if you wanted to put him in a jump back, you can give him deep strike, but he's in Cataphracti armor for that specific event that I went to. He comes down with them, and so the Rite of War, which is sort of the army bonuses and minuses that I take, mandates that I have to have a Master of Signals, which is an upgrade to one of their smaller heroes. I can't remember the word they use for him. So I have to do that, and he makes deep strike stuff more reliable, which is great. He's fine, you know. And then the last thing I think is, a Herald. The Herald. And the Master of Signals is in one blob of infantry, and the Herald is in the other. Usually the spoilers, because they want to get into combat first. So, yeah. But yes, that gives me 3 HQ choices. Master of Signal hangs out with the Legionaries. But yeah, depending on how interested you are in Heresy, I'm doing more stuff here. I'm actually doing a lore contest for Heresy here soon, on behalf of, I believe it's Pop Goes the Monkey. He asked me if I would be willing to host one for him because they're having their 10th year anniversary, and I was like, oh my god, absolutely. The rite of war that I use in Heresy is called the Black Reaving, and it represents Horus's strategy that he uses for all of his attacks, where it's just lightning fast aggression. So I have to have 2 fast attacks to every 1 heavy, which there is a last cannon team in there as well if you're taking notes, but that just exists really to get some more high AP stuff in there. But that's why I have the 2 units of speeder bikes, is just to have 2 fast attack choices so that I can take something with some armor punching. And it's a great, like, all-comers list. And that's what I like about Heresy, is that once you, because list building and stuff is so flavorful, I feel, because you get all your unique troops and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just all-comers lists for telling the story that you want this collection to tell is much easier, and I like that. And with this head, we have completed. Okay, let's see how they all rank up. Okay, I'm going to need to put a weight on that guy's standard bearer, of course. Oh, missed a guy. Yes, and if you're doing Heresy, maxing out at 2 Contemptors seems to be the polite thing to do, I guess. Contemptor Dreadnoughts are exceptionally good if you don't know. And if you, there is a way to have a list that's like almost all of them, and it creates bad feels. I might be gluing him down, to be honest with you. But anyway, ta-da! We built our little thing of raiders. Thank you for joining me. Man, that made it go by faster. Toss that out. We got our command card here. I got extra bits. These guys are like an IKEA piece of furniture. And just to celebrate for fun skis, we're going to do an attachment for them. Then I'll probably wrap it up because I'm losing my voice. Any last discussions anybody want to have? Any final questions here? I'll open it up now so that I have time to answer them. See, oh, we have a specific sprue just for the braids. One thing I do want to say, I want to point this out. While all Finecast was resin, not all resin is Finecast. And I say that because Parabellum, there's flash, so that's not abnormal for the process. But in terms of warping and stuff like that, I have had nothing but success when it comes to their miniatures. Their resin miniatures specifically. It's just the heroes. Let's see this. Any of you all play my Marvel Crisis Protocol? I was very happy to see it have a lot of attendance this year at Adepticon. Now that is a game that if you're competitive, I'm just like, why are you playing Warhammer? Go play that. It is a very tight rule set if you have not tried it. It's very cool. I like a lot of the design choices. The only thing I don't care for is that it's always oops all named characters. Like the Star Wars one has like chumps, like droids and stuff like that. Groups of clones, things that you can fight. Or I'm just like, I like that. I like when it's heroes versus... You get to see them doing other stuff, but if it's just all heroes, then it looks like everyone's waiting for the bus and then got mad at each other. Man. Nothing to dive in, but I want to say thank you for your content and live hangouts. Highlights of the day. Oh, thank you so much. That's super kind of you. Actually, I want to hold off on that because I want to see where the head sits before I attach the hair to it. Yeah, I don't have any specific topics. I mean, it's a 40K release weekend, which means there's not a lot going on in my world. Excited to see more Soulblight stuff whenever that comes out. Hello, Sir Stroming Fish. You've encouraged me to listen to the Horus Heresy. I hope you're pleased with yourself. Ah, I gotcha. Your hate for special characters shows you played Warhammer Fantasy. I think that might be your problem with 40k, which always had more special characters. That could certainly be. It's got to be like, hey man, this ain't Dante's universe, it's the Emperor's, and he's just living in it. So why are we focusing so much on Dante and Marnius? Yeah, and that's also why I didn't play what is the game? Malifaux? Everyone's a named warband. Give me chumps. I want to hack through something cheap to get to the winning sauce. I mean, at least that was one thing I always liked about Warhammer. No, Warhammer. War Machine was the mix of troops to named characters. There are a lot of named characters in that game. But man, you get to hack and slash your way through a lot of stuff before you get to them in the back. Good mix. At least from back in 2nd edition, I guess. It's been a bit. I really don't like Primarchs in 40k tabletop. At most, they should be very large game, 3,000 points. I tend to agree, but they tried selling for... Like, they tried a format where they sold models that were just for those large-scale games, and they just... People loved them, so they wanted to use them in their 2k games, so they just got rid of that. It used to be the old... What was it called? Someone who's a Warhammer vet will know what it is, but like... They used to put these big cases. It's when the super mega tank for the Imperial Guard came out, like the fortress on wheels, that kind of thing. Like that whole set was in response to these mega battles, Lords of War. Malifaux is the worst assembling sprues of all games I've ever made. Fingers on hands and ponytails in 3 parts. Not good, dude. There, we'll just give him a... bit to dry there, and then we'll throw the ponytail on and fill in the hole in the back of his head. He's looking a little Kennedy-esque. Let's see. 40k Apocalypse was a... Thank you. Has a lot of characters, but it's mostly unnamed leaders buffing the troops. A few exceptions, Primarch monsters, but they're mostly not named. Does it? I think it also matters army to army, because when I think about playing 40k, right, I'm thinking of factions that interest me. Things like Death Guard or Adeptus Mechanicus. Both of those really just have one or two named characters. I know Mechanicus has Belisarius Call. I don't know of any others. And then Death Guard has obviously Morty and the Plague guy. But like Typhus, that's his name, Typhus. So I don't know. It's interesting. Your experience will vary, because I bet if you're trying to think, what's a faction with a ton of named character? Well, it used to be Death Guard or Death Watch, but yes, anything where I can have my story be a part of a greater one, you know, write your own narrative. And that's actually why I really like the way that Conquest supports their narrative play with these self-contained story boxes, because all the story for that character and their major events and how they make decisions, it's all right there. But yeah. All right, friends, we got ourselves a set of raiders and a captain to go with them. I've done a regiment and then a hero to break it up a little bit. I need to put a weight on this guy back here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today while we've just been sitting and building. And we'll do a few more streams like this on the way, because I got to get caught up with building up stuff. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and I will catch you in my next live stream. Happy War.